Hey guys, welcome back to another pickups video. I'm here today with my friend Alex. Say hi, Alex.
Hello.
Alex is from Ontario, Southern Ontario, my old hometown of Lindsay, or he actually comes from Omini, which is a little hamlet just outside of Lindsay. We initially met at Domino's Pizza when we were both working there eons ago. And Alex is here visiting me today in Edmonton, Alberta. Now, Edmonton is where I moved to recently. And Edmonton's a pretty interesting city. Geographically, we are the farthest north city of 1 million people on the continent and possibly even on the planet. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I know we're the farthest north city of 1 million people or more on the continent. And let me tell you, it's pretty far north. We are just getting some hints of spring now. The snow has just melted over the last week or two. We're starting to get some birds coming back, some iconic Canada geese and some seagulls and things of that nature. We don't really have any green grass or buds on the trees yet, but it is starting to warm up, so there is that. Alex has come to me today. He's been here for, what, about 4 days or something?
Something like that.
Came for a visit. Alex is not really much for this whole YouTube thing, but he is the power behind making this channel possible. He's the guy that organizes all the tech. I buy all my tech, my laptops, my computers, things like that from him, and when I need something done, he's the guy to do it. We just recently went out and bought a new video card for my main desktop. My main desktop is a small form factor computer, so it's pretty challenging to get high-end tech to fit inside it. So we had to upgrade my video card from, what was it, a 730 Ti, or no, 730, NVIDIA 730. We upgraded it to a 1030, which is apparently about 200% better, and I've definitely noticed a major improvement in how smooth my editing and rendering is going. He also massively improved my internet signal. I'm in a basement where I am, and the Wi-Fi was particularly weak down here. It would come and go. It was up and down like a toilet seat, so he installed a, what's it called, a
Power line adapter.
Power line adapter, right. So it actually plugs in upstairs by the router and sends the internet, don't ask me how, but it sends the internet to the house wiring, like the electrical wiring, and then there's another receiver over here on the other end, and he's actually set me up a second router in the house that's just mine, so now I have my own Wi-Fi, and I've got a wired signal. So my main computer is now hardwired, which means I've got much better internet, much more reliable. So thank you, Alex. So we've got 10 games, 10 all Nintendo games to discuss with you today. I'm going to show you some Wii games, some Wii U games, and a couple of surprises. Stick around to the end of the video. I've got a pretty desirable Nintendo Wii game that is sealed, and I'm going to open it for you on camera. Stick around. Alright guys, we're going to get right into the pickups here. So, Alex, what kind of games do you normally play? I know you play that that car physics game. What is that called?
BeamNG Drive.
What's that?
BeamNG Drive.
BeamNG Drive. I've seen him play this game, and it's basically like, what, you outfit a car?
Yeah, it's very physics-oriented. Crashes and hitting things and things like that.
You basically just go for a drive and try out for, like, incredible crashes and crash physics and stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you play that a lot. What other... Yeah, I mean, I've played, like, SimCity with you and stuff like that. Do you play anything else? I mean, you've had your share of consoles. I bought my original Xbox from you, actually, complete in box. That was a gem. What else did I buy from you? Definitely, what, some PlayStation games or something, too.
Yeah.
PS2, oh, I bought the PS3 from you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my PS3 was also complete in box, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, he keeps the boxes for everything. So, along my collecting journey, as I've picked up various things, I've actually picked up several things from him. He's the type of guy that keeps everything in pristine shape. So when I picked up my PS3, it was absolutely immaculate, complete, manuals, box, the whole 9 yards, and I'm still using it today. I've had it, what, 2-3
something like that.
2-3 years anyway. And the original Xbox, the same, absolutely immaculate, you know, dust-free, clean. Yeah, he's definitely been he's kind of been my hookup for all kinds of technological stuff. We actually put a bigger hard drive in this computer. We put a fresh copy of Windows on the laptop you see behind me, and a different hard drive in that. And, you know, so we've been just doing technology stuff all week. So getting into the games, the first game that I picked up recently, now this comes from another collector, and I've got 4 or 5 games in here that I've picked up from the same collector that you would have saw in my last Wii Heavy pickups video. John, thank you very much for the great deals. So the first game I have to show you is Ivy the Kiwi. Now, this game is highly collectible on the Wii. I've been looking for this game for quite some time. It's a really unique indie-developed platformer put out by Xseed Games. Now, what's interesting about this is that you don't really control the character. The character will run in one direction or another if she hits a wall, and you have to direct the character by drawing these vines. That's the ivy. You're drawing these vines across the screen and directing her through the platforming levels. It gets really challenging. It's also got an absolutely beautiful kind of watercolor art style. It was never really printed in high volume, so it's always been more on the uncommon side in the Wii library, and it's been something that I've been wanting to pick up. These have run from $50 to $80, although the prices have been coming down, and I certainly got it for a better price than that. And I'm super happy to add it to the collection. Can you throw it over there? Mm-hmm. Gently. So the next game I picked up, I did pay a little bit more than I wanted to for this, but I have been looking for and trying to decide between various versions of this game. Of course, probably the best version of this game is on the Switch, and that is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Now, this game looks super interesting to me. I've not played it, but I've played some of the levels in Super Mario, 3D World or whatever, where this originated from. It's a unique puzzle game where you're in a 3D environment and you've got to manipulate the environment because Toad can't jump, right? So you've got to manipulate the environment, bring down ramps and barriers and move walls and things like that. It's a game that I've really been wanting to play, but I couldn't decide whether I wanted it on the 3DS because I play the 3DS more than anything right now, or the Wii U. Now, the Wii U obviously looks better than the 3DS, but it's basically the same game. So I decided to pick it up on the Wii U because I got it for about, I think it was $30, $35, and the 3DS version is going for $55 to $60. That is Canadian money, of course. So I picked this version up eventually because I found it for a reasonable price. You want to throw this over there? You've not really had a whole lot of exposure to Nintendo games. You've always been more of a kind of PlayStation, Xbox guy, right?
Yeah.
Other than your Game Boy. I guess you just gave, what did you give Zach? You gave him a Game Boy Color or something?
Yeah, it's yellow Game Boy Color.
Yellow Game Boy Color, and a bunch of games that turned out to be pretty valuable, eh?
About $70, $80.
Yeah, a couple of, what, Pokemon games or something?
Yeah, a couple Pokemon games, Driver for the Game Boy Color, and Dexter's Laboratory for the Game Boy Color. Yeah,
I remember looking that up. That Dexter's Laboratory actually looks like an interesting game that I want to source out at some point. So speaking of the Game Boy Color, I recently picked up a fairly interesting game, historically speaking, and this is Sabrina the Animated Series, Zapped, on the Game Boy Color. Now, this game, for those of you who don't know, is one of the first, if not the first game to be branded as a WayForward game. That's the company that designed Shantae in the Shantae series, and this game, Sabrina, was actually designed by the creator of Shantae as a way to make some money and pay the bills while they were putting Shantae together. So this game is actually much better than you would consider a licensed game to be. It has a lot of the elements, a lot of the gameplay elements that you would expect from a Shantae game in terms of the quality of the platforming. It's almost really like a Metroidvania-style game where you have to kind of backtrack to complete levels, and it's really a lot better than it really should be, considering it's a licensed game based on an animated TV show. But I'm pretty happy to add this to my collection. I think I picked this up at my local comic book store that also has some video games for $8, and that's about what it goes for online. It's not a super expensive game. From a historical perspective, this is one of the first titles to be released by a fantastic developer way forward. So the next game I got for you here, and this is one that this is another game that's really interested me over the years that I've been trying to find, and it's on the uncommon side. This is Ultimate Shooting Collection by UFO. Now, the Ultimate Shooting Collection is a collection of 3 shoot-'em-up games, Radio Allergy, Carus, and Chaos Field, and I was particularly interested in Chaos Field. These are 3 Dreamcast games that were pretty much, as far as I know, only released in Japan on the Dreamcast. And they're incredibly expensive to purchase today. They're pretty expensive games to purchase today to play on a Dreamcast. So to have this collection on the Wii for a more affordable price, I think I paid in the area of $40 for this. To have 3 games for $40, I am a huge fan of shoot-'em-ups. Some of the first games I ever played in my pre-teens were shoot-'em-ups, and I've been a fan ever since. I've always wanted to play Chaos Field. I haven't really played these other 2 games before. Well, I haven't played any of the games, but Chaos Field looks amazing. I believe Carus is going to be pretty good too. I wish I knew how to pronounce that. Sorry, I'm probably mangling it. But, again, a really nice pickup, an uncommon game for the Wii. I'm happy to add that to my collection. I'm going for not complete collections necessarily on the Wii. The Wii is so full of shovelware and licensed games and garbage games for little kids and stuff. But I'm really having a lot of fun collecting the good stuff for the Wii. Dare I say hidden gems. That term gets misused a lot, but if anything can qualify as a hidden gem, this is it. So I'm super happy to add it to my collection. Now, moving a little bit more into the first-party arena for Nintendo, something that I've wanted for a while, and the price has been rising on this, and I did have to pay a little bit more than maybe I would want to for something like this, but this is a pretty iconic game for the Wii, and that is Kirby's 20th Anniversary Dream Collection. This includes quite a few of the early Kirby games from the Game Boy, the N64, the Super Nintendo, stuff like Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby's Adventure, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Kirby 64, and this is a complete, special edition. It's really nice. You can see, not only does it come with the game, which is, nice manual there. It's got an extra disc. It's got an extra disc, which is a soundtrack. I love it when I get soundtracks with my games. And then it's got this nice celebration book, it's called. It's basically an art book. Having a hard time showing it to you there, but, some really beautiful artwork in here. As you can see, I love getting special editions of stuff like this. When I find this stuff in the wild, I really want to pick it up, and there's something of the collector in me that when I find something that's a special edition like this for a reasonable price, I just have to pick it up. To get a piece of the history like this, there's special features on here, history of Kirby and stuff like that, and it's something, I've never been a huge Kirby fan, but I've always wanted to dive into the lore. So this gives me a reasonable, budget-friendly way to get 6 Kirby titles in my collection. Thank you, Alex. You ever played a Kirby game?
Smash Brothers for the N64.
Oh, there you go.
Probably about this.
So moving back over to the Wii U for a minute here. This is another game I've been wanting to get for a while. The price has been rising on this until recently when it was re-released on the Switch, and the prices came down. Now, I prefer, in general, to get the original versions of games where I can, rather than the re-releases. And particularly because I stay one generation behind, I don't have a Switch. So I was super excited when the price came down on this game, and I was able to get it for about $35 or $40, and that is Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. Now this game is kind of interesting because it is a blend of Fire Emblem characters in a Persona sort of setting. It's an Atlas game. But it takes Nintendo properties, your Fire Emblem properties, and mixes them into kind of a, pop star. It's kind of a weird setting where you kind of dance in a way. You have, dance offs to complete battles and stuff like that. Just gonna have a drink of coffee here. Getting parched doing all this talking. So yeah, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Say that 3 times fast. Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE is a game that I have been looking for a while. I'm a big fan of JRPGs in general. I'm a big fan of the Persona series, and I'm a pretty good fan of the Fire Emblem series. Although I haven't played a whole lot of Fire Emblem games, that's a hint for what's coming up later in the video, so stay tuned. So the next game I've got here is, this game's not particularly rare, but it is a little harder to find these days because it is well thought of, and people who buy it tend to keep it. And that is Lost in Shadow. Definitely, if you were to call something a hidden gem, this should be on the list. The game mechanics alone set this apart from a lot of other games because you're playing in the background instead of in the foreground. You are literally playing as a shadow who has been disconnected from his body, and you need to, through the course of the game, get to the top of the tower and get back to your body so you can reconnect with yourself. And the game mechanics and the music and the setting are very, very interesting. It's a somber tone, but for the Wii, it's actually beautiful visuals. And it's a game I've been wanting to play for a long time, but usually when I've seen it, it's been on the expensive side. I managed to pick this up, I think, for about $15 or $20, which I think is a pretty reasonable price for a well thought of game on the Wii. I have seen this game as high as $30 to $40, so I wasn't about to complain. Now, getting into a little bit more of the heavy hitter side on the Wii, these next 3 games are all what I would consider to be heavy hitters on the Wii. The first one here is Rise Fantasia. Now, this game is really well thought of because it is one of the few broad-scale JRPGs on the Wii. There weren't that many really good JRPGs on the Wii, and this one is definitely one of them. I showed in a previous video that I had picked up Pandora's Tower and Xenoblade Chronicles and a couple of other of the JRPGs on the system, and I am trying to collect all of the JRPGs that were released on the Wii in North America. So this definitely adds to that collection. This game here, from what I've heard, starts out pretty predictably, but turns into, if you stick it out, a really fantastic JRPG with some really interesting characters and some really interesting gameplay mechanics similar to the early Final Fantasy games. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking this out when I do get back into console gaming. Right now I'm really heavily playing a couple of games on my 3DS. Just because of my lifestyle, I don't have a lot of time at home other than when I'm working on YouTube. So most of the gameplay that I'm doing right now is on my 3DS, but when I do get a chance, this is going to be on the top of the list of big long games that I start to play. Speaking of shoot 'em ups on the Wii, this is probably the most well-known and most beloved shoot-'em-up, and also a little bit hard to find and generally fairly expensive, and that is Castle of Shikigami 3. Now, this is a fantastic bullet hell shoot-'em-up. I have had the pleasure of playing this a little bit. I made sure I put it in and checked it out because I love shoot-'em-ups so much, and let me tell you, this game is super challenging, but really rewarding. It's not a long game. You can get through it in a couple of hours or less. Yeah, some pretty interesting anime cutscenes and things like that peppered through. It's a really fun game, and I really love exploring more modern shoot-'em-ups that have some kind of story development along with it. I've been a fan of shoot-'em-ups, as I said before, for 30 years, but the more modern ones are quite interesting and still pretty challenging, and I love the way the graphics look these days. The graphics in this game are fantastic, bright, vibrant. It's a lot of fun. So definitely, if you have a chance to check this out and you like shoot 'em ups, this game is gonna be for you. This is probably the best shoot 'em up to get on the Wii. Alright guys, so thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, and if you did, you're in for a real treat here. As my last pickup, I have a sealed copy of something that I have been wanting for a while. and that is Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. This is the Fire Emblem game for the Wii. This one is a direct sequel to the GameCube Fire Emblem game. These generally sell in the $80 to $100 range, not sealed. I was able to get a fantastic deal on this. The seal is slightly broken, as you can see. There's a little bit of a tear. So what I'm going to do, because I don't really collect sealed games, I'm going to open this and we're going to see what comes in the box with Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. Because we know that this is going to be as complete can be, because it is still sealed. Alright guys, we're doing it. This feels so wrong, Alex.
The value is decreasing.
The value is decreasing. Depreciation!
Paper bag or triple mylar?
No thanks, I'll just eat it here.
Oh, no! What are you doing? Good, fair, poor!
Alright, so let's see what's in the box here. Alright, so we've got the disc, which is obviously in immaculate condition, because it's brand new. Alright, what do we have here? So we've got a software registration card. We've got an ad. If you like Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, check out these other games. Super Mario Galaxy. It's advertising the Wii and DS games. Zelda Phantom Hourglass. Custom Robo Arena. It's got full page ads for all three of those games on the inside. Full page ad for Zelda Phantom Hourglass there. And then we get into the manual for Fire Emblem. We do have full color. Some nice screenshots in there talking about what's going on. Some nice artwork. Altogether a nice package. I'm super glad to add this to my collection. Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. Alright guys, thanks so much for sticking around. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you. Give me a thumbs up if you would. It really helps more than you know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you'll be notified every time I put up a new video. Thanks so much guys. Say goodbye, Alex.